Okay students, in continuation with chapter 8, cell, the basic unit of life, we had started with endomembrane system yesterday in the previous lecture. So in endomembrane system, we had covered ER. Now today the next part of it we are going to cover, that is Golgi apparatus. And one important thing we had seen that this Golgi apparatus, where it is present near to ER. Why it is present, that also we will see. Firstly, let us understand this Golgi apparatus. Who discovered this? Why this name is Golgi? Because a scientist named Camillo Golgi or Golgi, he discovered this apparatus present in the cell. So that is why from here the term comes Golgi apparatus. Why apparatus? Because it is a collection of things. What things? These structures which I am drawing. Like these tube-like structures parallel to each other, like stacking is there, and these circular structures are also there. Collectively, this is called as Golgi apparatus. These structures which are there, these tube-like structures, these are called as cisternae. And these round structures, these are called as vesicles. We can clearly see in this structure that there is this one end and this end. Two ends are there. This is larger one and here it comes small. Or you can say this type of face is there. Yes? So this side is convex and this side is concave. So I can say this is the convex side and from here cave, like a cave, this is a concave side. Because here this is away from this vesicle, so this is called as cis side and trans side. Or in other words, this side is near to ER. This cis side is near to ER. Okay, and then this is present and this side is away from ER. So that is why this is cis side and this is trans side. Now this cis phase, or we can say there are two phases. This phase is called as the forming phase. And this is called as the maturing phase. Now why is that so? In a cell, if you see, the ER will be here. Suppose this is one ER. One part of ER I have drawn this one, this tube. Okay. In the cell, this Golgi apparatus will be near to ER, always. So the near end is convex, cis or forming phase. The away end is concave, trans or maturing phase. Is the structure clear? Now the next point which we will see is that what are the functions of this Golgi apparatus? Why is it near to ER? This question we are going to answer now. In the ER, we know proteins and lipids are being formed, which are helping in the cell membrane synthesis also. Once they are formed in ER, they will start moving to this Golgi apparatus. In Golgi apparatus, these proteins and lipids will start getting its function. It will be packaged, it will be modified so that it becomes functional. How it will become functional? See, there are certain proteins and lipids, once they are formed in ER, they are not able to perform the function. Maybe there is some missing part in the structure, some modification has to be done. It has to be packaged properly inside before it performs its function. So that is why we have this Golgi apparatus which is near to ER. What it is doing? It will take those proteins, lipids, whatever materials are being formed, it will package it, modify so that it becomes functional, and from where it is released, from these vesicles, it is released to different parts of the cell. That is how it will be transferred. So that is why the Golgi apparatus is always near to ER, because it has to take those proteins and lipids, it has to package and modify so that it performs its functions. So this is all about Golgi apparatus. Next cell organelle we will see, that is lysosome. Now lysosomes actually are the suicidal bags of the cell. Why suicidal bags? Because these contain characteristic enzymes. In case of stress to a cell, what will happen? This will start secreting those enzymes and it will start degrading the cell itself. So that is why suicide, self-killing, autolysis. Autolysis means self-breakdown. So it does its self-breakdown. How it can do? Because it has hydrolytic enzymes. Enzymes which can lyse, break down with the help of water, different nutrients which are there. Like proteins, so proteases. Carbohydrates, it degrades, carbohydrases. So like this, these enzymes are present. So lysosome will be having this membrane, and we represent these dot structures as these hydrolytic enzymes, which will help the cell to survive in the stressful conditions. It will start degrading itself, so it will prevent any damage to the cell. That is the importance of lysosome. So the key point here is it performs autolysis, and it has a group of hydrolytic enzymes which can also be called as hydrolases. So it digests different nutrients in the cell. Whatever cell membrane is there, that also it can digest. Next, let us see the next part of endomembrane system is, that is vacuole. Okay, what is the vacuole? Again, it is having a membrane. This is the outermost membrane, and that membrane is called as tonoplast. Remember, in plant cells we had made this long vacuole. This outermost layer of this vacuole, this is called as tonoplast. What is the function of tonoplast? It will help in movement of nutrients against concentration gradient. Against concentration gradient. Please understand this. What do we mean by against concentration gradient? Suppose here this type of nutrient is more in amount, and here it is less. So where the movement should be accordingly high to low, but this doesn't happen. Because of this layer, this tonoplast, opposite direction this thing will happen. Against concentration gradient. Not from high to low movement is not there, from low to high movement is there. Because what is the function of this vacuole? It is the storage sac. It will store different sap. What is sap? Containing water and minerals inside the plant. So main constituent is this tonoplast, which is helping in storing maximum minerals inside. Otherwise, what will happen naturally? Wherever high concentration is there, it will move to the low part. But over here, opposite. That is why I am repeating, very important MCQ, which layer helps in movement of materials against concentration gradient. That is tonoplast in vacuoles. So what vacuoles are doing? They are storing the materials. Okay. There are two major types of vacuoles discussed over here. One is food vacuole. Another is contractile vacuole. Food vacuole, from here only it is clear, it will store food like in amoeba. And over here, like in paramecium, there is contractile vacuole. This vacuole will actually help in removal of excess water. If a cell has excess water, it will start contracting the vacuole and it will remove the excess of water. So this is all about vacuole. Another last point over here is that what is the difference between the vacuole of plant cell and animal cell? Plant cell has a large central vacuole and animal cells have smaller vacuoles, and it is more in number. But here we have a single large one. Next, very important part of the cell organelle, that is mitochondria. It is the powerhouse of cell because it releases, it synthesizes ATP. Mitochondria. Let us look at the structure first. It is having outer membrane and inner folded membrane. Okay. So now inside this mitochondria, there is this outer membrane first of all. Then this is the inner membrane. Then inside this is the cytoplasm, we can say. So cytoplasm of mitochondria is actually referred to as matrix. Inside this, very important components like these are present, these are proteins where the respiratory enzymes will be present. That is why ATP will be formed over here in the inner membrane. Very important thing over here is that ribosomes which are present even in eukaryotes, that is not 80S. The ribosomes of mitochondria are 70S. Even if the cell, rest of the ribosomes are 80S, but in mitochondria it will always be 70S, whether it is prokaryote or eukaryote. In both mitochondria, 70S ribosomes are present. Another important thing, it has its own DNA. It has own DNA, means it can replicate itself because it has the genetic material. So that is why sometimes it is called as semi-autonomous organelle. Please understand this. What do we mean by semi-autonomous? Half automatic. Means it can do half of its functions itself. Because why? It has its own ribosomes and it has its own DNA. That is what is required to multiply. Alright, so this is what is mitochondria. ATP will be released. This outer membrane and inner membrane. Here one term you should know, that the inner membrane is called as cristae. One question sometimes comes, that what is the difference between cristae and cisternae? Don't get confused, we have just now did this, that in Golgi, these tube-like structures are called as cisternae and these inner foldings are called as cristae. Why these foldings are there? To increase the surface area for the respiration process to occur. So mitochondria is present in both plant cell and animal cell. Let us look at the organelle which is only present in plant cell, and that is chloroplast. It is very much essential for photosynthesis, has the chlorophyll, chloroplast. So chloroplast will come under the category of plastids. So plastids, these are present only in plants. P plastids, P plants, only present in plants. There are variety of plastids. Chromoplast, giving color. Plast is coming from plastid. Chromo means color. Leucoplast, plast again from plastid. Leuco means colorless. And chloroplast. Chloro means green color. It is giving green color. So leucoplast mainly is colorless. This is giving the color and this is mainly giving the green color. Now green color, where it will be? In the leaves. They are making the food, having the chlorophyll. Chromoplast, like we have the different colors of fruits, we have different color of flowers. That is due to this chromoplast. What about leucoplast? It is colorless, it is not giving any color. So what is the function here? Storage. What all things it can store? It can store proteins, it can store fats, it can store oils. So depending on what it is storing, there are three different types of leucoplast. You can see it on page number 135. Below mitochondria, plastids are there. Elioplast, amyloplast, and there is aleuroplast. Amylo always means referring to the carbohydrates. So whenever carbohydrates are being stored, that is amyloplast. Elioplast means storing fats and oils, and eleuron layer means proteinaceous layer. So wherever proteins are being stored, that is eleuroplast. So what all things are being stored? Amyloplast, it is the carbohydrates. Elioplast, oils and fats, and eleuroplast, proteins are being stored in the plastids. Now let us look at the structure of the plastid. Mainly we will over here see the structure of chloroplast, which is present in the leaf. Understand the structure carefully. There are two membranes over here, outer and inner, but here inner membrane is not folded. Then this stack is there of such round, means coin-like appearance it can give. Now what are the different parts over here? Please understand, this cytoplasm, like in mitochondria it was called matrix, here it is called as stroma. These stacks, single structure is thylakoid, and the whole part can be referred to as grana. These are the connecting links. This is called as stroma lamina. These are the main parts. Now coming to that, chloroplasts are actually also called semi-autonomous. Means they can exist, they are automatically existing themselves. How? Because again it has 70S ribosome and also its own DNA which is present in the stroma. Inside this thylakoid we can see now there is cytoplasm. Inside this also cytoplasm is there. This is called as lumen. So lumen is inside this thylakoid and stroma is the cytoplasm of the chloroplast itself. So next topic, till ribosomes we will cover today. So next we will start with ribosomes. We know that ribosomes are protein factories and there is a large subunit and small subunit of ribosome. So let us look at the structure carefully. This is the small subunit and this is the large subunit. Together it will make the ribosome. So suppose this is 50S, S is the Swedberg's coefficient, sedimentation coefficient, telling the density of the unit. And this is 30S. So it comes out to be 70S, which is present in prokaryotes. Please see in case of eukaryotes how it is different. This is large subunit is 60S and small subunit is 40S. So it comes out to be 80S. Again I have told you earlier also we don't have to add this because it is density. We are not adding it. Okay, this is the Swedberg gave this sedimentation coefficient. So this is found in eukaryotes. So this is about ribosomes, that they perform the protein synthesis. Whenever protein is being formed, both the subunits are required by the cell to perform the synthesis of proteins.